What is going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. So, Clash Capone is now live on Global. Kind of a little bit odd, I feel, that the fact that they are dropping it like literally days before the treasure map. I'm not a big fan of that. I feel like they should have definitely given us more time to farm up this raid boss character. They did this last month as well with the big Emperor raid boss as well. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. But either way, in this video, we're going through the 60 stamina version of Clash Capone. Obviously, the 40 and the 30 stamina are much easier to beat. Although you have a look here, there is a condition here. It says only slashers, shooters, and driven characters are allowed to be brought into this fight. Now, I think that's a little ridiculous considering that this raid boss is pretty difficult. And on top of that, they just apply this condition which further restricts the characters you can bring. Not a big fan of that. Though, there are lots of good driven characters, there's lots of good slashers, and lots of good shooter characters. Though, I feel like those three classes in particular are probably some of the most pay-to-win classes in the game. So, I'm not a big fan of the way they structured this event in general, and they really put it at an awkward time in the month as well. So I can understand why some people might not be able to farm this, but remember, the 30 stamina version is much easier. As long as you can get a copy of this character, it's going to help you out a lot in treasure map, as he's going to be a 1.35 point booster, and he has a pretty decent captain ability, which we will go through right now. So let's go ahead and filter through, discuss the Capone, and then we'll get into the dungeon. So Capone is a strength shooter driven character. You can see his max limit broken stats are actually pretty decent: 3415 HP, 1480 attack, and 269 recovery. His captain ability is going to boost shooter characters' attack by 3 times when you have above half health, and if you're not above half health, then it's only a 2.5 times captain, and he reduces damage by 20% if he does not attack during that turn. So honestly, a pretty decent shooter free-to-play captain in my personal opinion, and staying above 50% is much easier than staying below 50% in a lot of circumstances. So that's actually pretty decent. Now, in terms of his special ability, it maxes at 14 turns, and it will go ahead and state that if 6 shooters are on your crew, you get 2 times attack to your shooter characters for 1 turn. Amazing special ability straight off the bat. And then he has an added effect that states that if you activate the special and if your HP is 50% or below, you heal back to 51% of your crew's max HP. This does not mean that you get 51% recovery. It means that, let's say if you have 20,000 HP, 50% is 10,000, and then 51% is like what? Like just over 10,000. So you'll recover back to that threshold of 51%. So that's really good because it means that you'll be able to get the buffed captain ability of Raid Capone. So that's pretty nice. In terms of his sailor abilities, he will boost shooter characters' base stats by 30, and also will boost base stats by 100 when you're 50% or above. So that's pretty decent as well. He does have a support ability, nothing too crazy though. Will only add 5% of his base stats, and he has dex damage reduction by 5%, and he has barrier penetration, which will barrier pierce the barrier when you're above 50% HP. So overall, I think Capone is a decent free-to-play shooter character. I think that shooters definitely needed a better shooter character overall, and this is nice to have a free-to-play 2 times attack booster for shooters. I feel like what they really need to do though is release a higher orb booster for shooters that are free to play. That would be definitely greatly appreciated, and some other good utility characters would be nice as well. But there we go, that's the rundown of Capone, the character himself. But now let's go ahead and take the time to discuss the actual raid boss 60 stamina version of Clash Capone. So jumping into the brand new Clash on Global, this is going to be a little bit of a tricky one, as I mentioned before. There are 2 main stages that you have to worry about before you even get to the final boss stage. First one on stage 3 is a bunch of bodyguard mobs. They all have a pretty decent amount of health. They're relatively tanky, they have high defense, and every single turn when there are not a full board of mobs, they're going to summon more mobs. So you have to try and find a way to KO all of these characters in one turn. You don't all have to do it on turn 1, but as quickly as possible would definitely be ideal. And then on stage 4 is going to be with Vito. Vito has 1.2 million health, and his preemptive will go ahead and paralyze your entire team for 5 turns, and also every single turn for the next 5 turns your health will be cut by 20%. Now every 3 turns Vito will give you 3 turns of recovery bind as well, and you'll see that when we actually go ahead and use use the Barto and Cavendish team towards the end of this video. Also, don't get him below 20% because he'll apply 5 turns of Bind and Despair, and that Bind is for your entire team. You definitely do not want to be binded for 5 turns, so obviously don't do that. And now moving on to the final boss, which is going to be Capone. There's 10 million HP, and the mobs around him have 130,000 HP, I think. It's around about that. And his preemptive attack applies 5 turns of full immunity, defense up, blue shield, rainbow shield, percent damage reduction, and 5-turn 3-hit perfect barrier. And you can see that he'll also go ahead and give you 15 turns of 15% or 50% attack down. That is going to be the big thing where a lot of people will struggle here. That means that you will have to deal 20 million total damage with that attack down, which is quite annoying, especially because he has that barrier as well. So yeah, he's just extremely annoying, and the fact that every single turn that Capone is alive, he will summon more mob characters as well. So taking down Capone is the #1 priority on this boss stage, and below 20%, Capone will blow away all characters except for your captain. So the first team you guys have seen here is the Sanji and Judge team. We are using the Dex Zombie Knight character, who's really cool because he has a special ability where he gives you 2 turns of attack down to your team. And the great thing about that is you can carry that through preemptive rooms, and that will basically ignore the attack down that Capone will give you. So having that Dex Zombie Knight character is pretty goddamn useful. The second team you guys will be seeing is actually a Carrot team. Now, this Carrot team is schmick. I love this Carrot team so goddamn much. It is extremely fast. It's under 3-minute runs. There's nothing really that is RNG about the run. I mean, I guess you can count the randomization of orbs with SgtSan special, but considering how many times you activate it, you should be getting matching orbs. And if you don't, well, you can reset. But obviously with Carrot's matching orb rate, plus with orb sockets, you're getting matching orbs either way. Plus, when you activate Carrot Special, she makes Recovery, Tandem, and Quick Orbs beneficial as well. So, yeah, you're not really going to have too many problems with the Carrot team in particular. And honestly, you know, Legend V1 Rayleigh is a very, very old legend. And I think that, you know, if you're a person that owns Carrot, you more likely than not have Rayleigh, and if you don't, then you won't be able to build this team. You specifically need Rayleigh on this team because when you limit break him, he has the Sailor ability of reducing his cooldown by 2 turns every single time another special is activated. And then you have Treasure Map NL, who reduces his cooldown 5 turns every time another special is activated. And then you have SgtSan, reduces her cooldown by 1 turn every time another special is activated. So you can see, you know, how this team is functioning, and it's kind of crazy how it works. This team is like 500 IQ. I love it so goddamn much. But yeah, the way that it works is just that you're using the NL special whenever you can to KO the mobs, and because this team cannot KO Capone on turn 1, you do have to wait a couple of turns before you can eventually KO him, and it's pretty intelligent the way that the team is built. I just absolutely love it. And the final team after the Carrot team you guys will be seeing actually is going to be Barto and Cavendish, which I briefly mentioned earlier. And the Barto and Cavendish team is just utilizing version 1 Law 6+ and version 2 Doflamingo to overkill on stage 4 against Vito, and then to go ahead and use the V2 Doflamingo special for overkill damage on the final boss room against Capone and the bodyguard mob characters. But hopefully you enjoyed the video of utilizing these different characters to take on this new raid boss. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and if you guys did enjoy it, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all of the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But other than that, guys, I will see you guys within the next video.